Hello folks, and welcome to Tuneful Tuesday, and we're looking at a new magazine. In this particular issue, we've got a couple of book reviews and we've got a couple of vinyl reviews, but we'll start with a host of vinyl news. And first off, we've got Jools Holland. You remember Jools Holland from Squeeze, ex of Squeeze, and media personality par excellence. On the East West label, he has a new album called Piano and Friends, which spans 2 discs and resides in a gatefold sleeve. Now, this collection of varied tracks is being presented by varied friends, and it's a bit of a party album with celebs as guests. So we're looking at 7 songs penned by Holland himself, and you've got people like Rick Wakeman appearing. You've got David Gilmour, you've got Joe Bonamassa, you've got Lang Lang, you've got Herbie Hancock, you've got Jamie Cullum, Booker T, Tom Jones, you name it. Next up is Link Davis from the German audiophile label Bear Family, and Davis offers the expansively titled Laissez-les Bon Tarula, Let the Good Times Roll, apparently, on a 10-inch vinyl release. This one is packed with goodies. Apart from the vinyl itself, well, you get a 26-track CD. You also get an 8-page booklet. This release combines Cajun, blues and rockabilly. Also, from Bear Family, they have something, it's a bit of a compilation, called Beale Street Beats Volume 1, and that includes the subtitle Home of the Blues. That was the name of the label that sat on Beale Street itself. This compilation of tracks arrives from Bear Family as a 10-inch disc. It offers lots of rhythm and blues, some soul, some blues and rock and roll. Volume 1 focuses more on the label's blues output, I suppose, from the likes of Dave Dixon, Willie Cobbs and Jimmy Dotson. The package also includes an 8-page booklet. Now on to the Longpigs. Remember them, the Longpigs? Issued on vinyl for the first time here, Mobile Home on the Mother label from 1999 originally was the group's last album. The Longpigs were supposed to be a sort of Brit pop band, but I saw them far on the genre's margins while better occupying a sort of alt rock berth. Rather underrated, I bought the band's first album, but sort of lost touch after that, so I was happy to see this one, and I was pretty surprised at the high quality of the content. Next up we have the Brknrecord. It's been created by the Heliocentrics man Jake Ferguson, and the album is called The Architecture of Oppression Part 1 on the Mr. Bongo label. It's a new album presented in a gatefold sleeve, a concept piece looking at the plight of Black Britons, and part of the damning 350-page McPherson report from 1999 is printed on the rear of the sleeve. The LP features Jermaine Jackman, Zara McFarlane, Dilemma, amongst others, and they pack in a sort of considered jazz, some R&B and soul, alongside a passionate oratory. And the final vinyl news item I want to talk about is from Art Blakey, classic jazz creator, and the Jazz Messengers. This is a newly reissued Blue Note album, limited edition double album version of the First Flight to Tokyo, the lost 1961 recordings, featuring 6 colour postcards and a 16-page booklet. The album includes Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, Bobby Timmons and Jamie Merritt, and they all aid Blakey on Charlie Parker's Now's the Time, Thelonious Monk's Round About Midnight, plus a host of Jazz Messenger hits. These recently discovered tape reels, mastered by star mastering engineer Bernie Grundman and manufactured at Optimal, were recorded at the Hibiya Public Hall in Tokyo on the 14th of January 1961 during the band's first ever tour of Japan. Grab that one, it's very interesting indeed. Next up, we're looking at a couple of vinyl reviews. first up for the review section is a little box set, meaty box set from the Gun Club called Preaching the Blues on the Flood Valley label. This is an intriguing box set from an intriguing band. The group emerged from the LA punk scene, taking blues as a bedrock and overlaying a host of other genres on top, and then throwing the lot directly at the audience with a sense of aggression and no little drama, partly fueled by heavy drinking, methinks. Led during the band's 17-year life by Jeffrey Lee Pierce, the Gun Club reflected Pierce's eclectic musical tastes and his inherent personality. That is, he riffled through band members like a stack of cards. He clashed more than a pair of cymbals, and clashed with drink and drugs more than that. There are 6 remastered 7-inch singles in this box set, contained in a pizza-style container, plus an extra Miami Demos release. What I like about the collection of singles here, rather than any particular Gun Club album release, is the immediacy and the impact. It empties a bucket of energy right over your head, and then bam, it's gone. The box itself includes the group's debut, Ghost on the Highway, with Sex Beat on the flip, and if you sort out the original pressing of that one, then you'd expect to pay anywhere between £65 and £90 for that one disc. So that's the price of this box set alone, which retails around, £75 last time I looked. Other singles include Fire of Love, the Miami Demos, Death Party, The Great Divide, Pastoral, Hide and Seek, and also Cry to Me. You'll also find a 52-page booklet with rare photographs and liner notes, plus a Fire of Love fanzine, a little gun badge, and a promo postcard. In mastering terms, because I like to look at mastering during these vinyl reviews, well, for a mere 7-inch single collection, and you don't often expect too much from 7-inch releases, I have to say, in mastering terms. For a mere 7-inch single collection, I was rather impressed. Sure, there was a measure of compression here, but it offered a broad-based soundstage and was far more mature in mid-range terms than it had any right to be. Next up, we're looking at the Rolling Stones and a reissue of the album Tattoo You. And it's anniversary time, folks. It's the 40th anniversary for the original album. And it's a good one too, which is half expected because it features leftover items from the 70s. It's also a surprise for the same reason, featuring the singles Waiting on a Friend and the hit Start Me Up. The album includes some superb sleazy rock and top-notch ballads. So, the original album gets a big thumbs up. The original content on this release gets a big thumbs up. The album has been remastered and includes, at least on the vinyl edition I received, another disc which is called Lost and Found Rarities. 9 tracks of previously unreleased works. Now, let us pause. What worries me is the small print found on the accompanying website saying that the package, and I quote, contains no fewer than 9 previously unreleased songs from the period of the album's original release, which is great so far. And then it says, newly completed and enhanced with additional vocals and guitar by the band. Now, I have a problem with this. This information is not on the LP itself. I couldn't find it. If you can find it, you tell me. It was only on the website. And that worries me even more. So, to confirm then, the band has taken archival tracks, then they've added brand new vocals and brand new instrumentation, and then they've passed those off as they are, new vocals, new instrumentation laid over the top, They've passed those off as rarities. Now, the original mixes, they're not included as a corrective. You only receive these altered versions. Can I offer a note from me to any record label that may be listening, large or small, on this increasingly fashionable occupation of overdubbing new vocals and sounds onto old original works? Here's the message. It's wrong. That new Jagger vocal is not the same as the contemporary 70s model, and neither is the guitar work. Any overdubbing fundamentally distorts and manipulates history and insults the band's own original art. Adding new vocals and instrumentation onto original archive work and then selling that as commercial product without placing any original explanation alongside to indicate which is a historical artifact and which is not, reduces the group's legacy to a complete farce. The Stones should be ashamed of themselves for even taking part. Either release the original archival works as is, or you leave it alone. Do not mess with history. And on that bombshell, we're going to look at some books. First up, we're going to look at it's a sort of part two, focused on the band Genesis. This particular one is written by a chap named Mario Giametti. I hope I've got that name correct. It's called Genesis 1975 to 2021, The Phil Collins Years. Produced by a publishing house called Kingmaker. It costs, I've seen it for $24.99. You're looking at around 289 pages. Now look, I don't normally make a point of referring to the actual weight of a book during a review, but I have to mention it here. This is a paperback and it still weighs a full 2 kilograms, which is more than the other book I'm going to mention, which was a quite substantial hardback. This book on Genesis offers superb production standards. There's a satin finish cover, there's heavy gauge paper, colour concert images, there are ticket scans, there are images of posters, we've got magazine covers. It's all here. This is a biography of a band. More than that, a specific period within the band's life, namely the post-Peter Gabriel era Genesis, led by cheeky, chirpy, short-sticked, and I'm talking about the drums here, folks, Phil Collins. The book tracks album releases, providing musical context, what was happening elsewhere during the period, a track-by-track analysis of that particular album alongside valuable interviews, the concerts following that album's release, and a whole lot more. Giametti even adds source notes for his quotes, while ephemera, such as songs that never made the album, provide welcome tidbits for hardcore fans. Giametti does a great job here. He even manages to confirm during the pivotal Duke era, for example, how Genesis were moving away from the fantasy and the fantastical style of songwriting towards more, realism and the tribulations of modern life. This book is effectively part two, as I say. Now, I like this book so much, I'm off to find part one, which will be a challenge because it doesn't seem to exist anymore. But I'll keep looking. Now, Barry Adamson. You remember Barry Adamson? He was in Magazine, the post-punk band, and he was part of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Well, he's written a book. It's called Up Above the City, Down Below the Stars. It's a 20-pound book from Omnibus, and you're looking at 324 pages. Written by Barry Adamson himself, who was a member, as I say, of Magazine and Nick Cave's Bad Seeds. This book reveals that he once drew and framed a portrait of Tommy Steele. and very nice it is too, actually. There's a picture in the book. Let me pause within this random section I've just picked out, because it sort of shines a light on the tome as a whole. Adamson talks in a first-person manner. I did this, we did that. His style is spur and fast-paced. The book cover mentions a noir-ish style, and yes, Chandler-esque did spring to mind. But look, don't get too cocky, Barry. You don't have the great man's observational wit. Even so, the pace of this book mosey's along quite nicely. But back to Tommy Steele. I was immediately drawn in by Adamson's tale of his jaded and oft disappointed art teacher who, despite Adamson's show of youthful artistic enthusiasm, he was a big fan of Mondrian, for example, appeared too jaded and worn down by the years of teaching disappointments to be able to fully engage. But it was a nice little window onto Adamson's youth. Contrast? Well, when he was touring with the band Magazine, he accompanied a girl to buy some cocaine from a dubious place of residence, occupied by similarly questionable individuals, and the situation quickly became rather dangerous in more ways than one. This book is indeed open and frank in its revelation and how it presents the personal history of R. Barry. Fashionably, and not for the first time in terms of recent music book publishing, the book covers Adamson's early life only. I'm hoping for a part 2, but it's certainly a cracking read. Highly recommended. And that's it, folks. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. And if you want to navigate around this video, just look below in the description. There are chapter headings and you can navigate. As I say, there's also some other little links down there for my social media platforms, the link to my website, which has a whole host of information, reviews, etc. you won't find on this particular channel. Also, please consider joining my Patreon page. It helps to keep this channel going, and there's some exclusives on there you can have a look at as well. And if you can, down below, click on the like and subscribe buttons, please. Just helps to keep this channel moving forward. Now, I'll be back later in the week with a new video based on a hi-fi theme. What's it going to be? Do you know what? I haven't got a clue. Right now, I do not know. So I'll be as surprised as you will be. But if you want to have a look in the community tab, which should be down there somewhere, I'll throw you a few hints if you'd like to know. Until that time, folks, I hope you can join me. Love to have your company. Until that time, bye-bye for now.